Hi guys, the storm's just passed through Melbourne. We're here at the end of another week. Let's kick things off with the weekly wrap-up. Alright, so Melbourne-founded business Redbubble announced this week that they're launching in Europe with Berlin as their headquarters. In addition to their European headquarters launch, they're going to be localizing their product into 3 languages, German, French and Spanish, to fuel the next stage. It's awesome to see Aussie businesses taking on the world, and congratulations to Martin Barry and the entire Redbubble team, and good luck for the next stage of growth. On the funding scene, it's worth mentioning Open Agent, a Sydney-founded business, raised their Series B of $12 million from Singapore and Australian funds. Having a Series B like Open Agent raise that amount of capital, mainly from Australian venture funds, is showing the changing landscape in the Australian funding market. And with this changing landscape, I've said before about founders need to understand who they want their capital from and why that particular funding partner, and how that funding partner can help them achieve the next stage of milestones they're setting out over the next 12 to 18 months for their business. So this week, StartMate kicked off their roadshow for the 2017 cohort. It's their 7th year doing StartMate, and there's a couple of things they're shaking up. Firstly, they'll be providing more capital to the startups, which will allow them to be able to push their product a bit further as part of the accelerator program. Secondly, they're providing 4 partners as part of StartMate 2017, Sam Wong, Alan Downey, Holly Cardew and Ned Dwyer. Congrats to these 4 partners, pretty exciting. It's going to change the game for the way StartMate runs and hopefully for the better. Good luck to the teams applying. You know, when we look back at the StartMate crew, companies like BugCrowd and UpGuard, which have both raised their Series B, they are now global and they're in the US. And there's companies like Redbubble who have expanded to Europe this week, as I previously mentioned. More and more companies are going global, which also brings challenges. One of the biggest challenges I'm thinking about as all these businesses are growing global is around communication. Spreading a team across the world brings a lot of communication challenges, whether it's about meetings, emails, or just generally not being in the same room. It can be a real productivity killer, and that's why if you're building a global organization, you really need to think through how you're going to build a global culture in a virtual world. You constantly hear people say, someone needs to solve the video conferencing problem. Video conferencing is such a big problem, and it is. The big tech giants are constantly looking at ways to solve this problem as well. Even this week, Google launched another version of a messaging app. And all you guys know, it's not their first. And overnight, Atlassian launched a new version of HipChat, which now has video chat built in to help teams across markets and across locations to collaborate. So let me ask you this question. How many of you guys who work with people in other cities or other offices use video over voice? And I'm not talking randomly, like once a week you'll use video. I'm saying religiously. How many of you have a culture where you use video as the way to communicate? At one point in my career, I was part of an executive team of 8 people, and we were scattered from one part of the world all the way to the other part of the world, and it was not easy. I found this tweet back from April 2010 when we were doing video and voice meetings across the cities where our executive team was split. Throughout my career, I've been fortunate to have global roles at startup, corporate, VC, and even now at OneStack, and video has been a huge productivity booster. So I wanted to give you guys a couple of tips about video conferencing to help you guys boost productivity with your employees, partners, or clients. The first tip, no matter whether you're having a one-to-one meeting or a group meeting, it needs to be video, full stop. Of course, not every single meeting needs to be video. I'm talking about your regular meetings that you have with your teams or with your employees in different parts of the world. Earlier this week, Atlassian posted a really interesting infographic on their team blog which spoke about driving productivity in the workplace. They too were promoting the use of video to boost productivity and focus when having meetings. Their stat was that 57% of people on phone calls are multitasking compared to 4% using video. And not only does it provide focus by using video, but you're also able to see the body language of the other people in the meeting. Tip number 2, it needs to be a quick setup. How many times have you seen, hey, can you hear me? Hey, can you see me? And you waste 15 minutes getting it up and running. Tip number 3, use robust tech. Most iPhones or most laptops have cameras built into them, but if you're in a boardroom, audio and video is key. And tip number 4, you have to build it into your culture. Build in the fact that video will help improve the overall communication across the business and get them on board. So my platform of choice is Zoom. It works seamlessly across device from mobile to tablets to desktops. Thanks to Stuart McLeod and the Carbon team for bringing Zoom to my attention about a year ago, and I haven't looked back. Okay guys, that's the end of this weekly wrap. Remember, face-to-face is always the best. Get your video conferencing on, and we'll see you next week.